Phil Vigil Show. It's brought to you by Rustler Implements, your local premier Kubota Case International Harvester and New Holland dealer. Please like their Facebook page for a chance to win 2 $100 Visa gift cards and receive updates on their promotions. Same name, same family since 1960. They're out there on the Mesa, also in Rocky Ford. Proud sponsor, title sponsor of the Phil Vigil Show. We've got some
and they're in the house. They brought some swag, Rustler Implement swag tonight.
Bart's wife let him out the house tonight, so he's actually here tonight, which is fantastic. You can always count on Brett. You know, he's the man of the house. He makes the rules. He shows up when he wants to. Thanks for being here, Brett.
And look who tagged along. Look who tagged along with him, Dan Nucci from La Junta. So got to have Tiger Pride in the house too, just to. Although I think he lives in Swink, so I don't know if that counts.
Love you, Bart.
Ever been to Swink?
Through it, many? No, you know what? Swink's got they got a great track.
They do.
And they have a great basketball arena.
Yeah.
You know, the Swink stink, you got to go through that. You know, that's the smell of money when you drive through Swink.
Because so is it like Greeley?
It's
smell that?
Yes, but it doesn't last as long.
Okay.
Or
there's
like
nothing worse than an
Fort
hour
Morgan,
south of
Sydney, Nebraska.
Yeah, what the heck was that?
I think we hit feeding time.
That was
there and back. Did you guys get some of that wafting smell?
We got a long trip on the way back, that's for sure. Well, some of us did.
I slept the whole time.
I thought Ben was going to pass out. He was driving. It was dicey.
Yeah, it was never. Well, it's never good when Ben's driving. Let's just put it that way.
We got our bus one broke down on the way back.
Okay, is that offense or defense?
Well, it's we put. We put everybody on everybody.
Oh, so look at you, desegregation.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, I'm still encountering some resistance to that, but I pushed through.
Okay.
And we made it through. So we had our first bus broke down. The second bus, I said, okay, we're gonna put as many guys in the second bus as we possibly can, and.
Underclassmen, get on the broken one.
We first we started with seniors. Seniors go on the second bus, and then. You know, O-line, D-line, juniors, you guys are going on the second bus, and then we did our single digits. And Zach was like, you know what, I'm going to stick on bus one. And you might have had some bad information.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely regret that decision.
How long was the layover? Let's call it a layover.
Yeah, it was a good 3 hours probably.
Where at?
Sydney.
Well, at least there was civilization.
There and everything.
Yeah.
At least there was civilization, you know.
Some places to eat. Should introduce our guests tonight. We have Zach Rakowski, and we also have Daniel Bohm, formerly known as Daniel Boone, once on a television broadcast.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. Kind of an outdoorsman type. But we got a heavy hitter on offense, and we got a guy that likes to score touchdowns and throw touchdown passes as well. Multifaceted here as our guest tonight on the Phil Vigil Show. Well, Phil is just a workmanlike victory over Chadron State. I mean, they were big and strong up front like you worried about, and I should have had Aaron Kinnischtzke pull up the clip because in the pregame show I said, you know what, Joe, Thunderbolt's going to have to make some plays in the passing game, I feel like, today. And, boy, did you make some plays in the passing game.
We did. The receivers did a really good job. Chance did a really good job. You know, we scored from deep, you know, and if you can score from deep, why not? You know, I guess if you don't try, we let it go, and Chance had some great balls, and Zach actually outran some people. It was that was awesome to see. You know,
do you just feel the love already?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. The banter is what makes us close.
Yes,
it keeps us tight. You know, they give it back. Trust me.
Our booth in Chadron is right next to the visiting coaches booth, so we had a front row seat to all the ups and downs of the day, and we could hear when things were going good and when things were going not so good. But they went good for most of the day.
They did. Again, the offense played really good. The defense played really good. Lights out on both sides of the ball, and it was great to see. That's a good team. You know, they're a good football team, and we went in and did what we needed to do to walk away with the victory. And that's a hard place to play. It's a long travel, and again, just proud of our guys who are doing their job and trusting each other, trusting in the plan.
Well, I thought you ran the ball enough early to kind of bring them up and then hit them over the top. Seemed like a couple of play-action passes. And then the one just stop-and-go move on the sideline. Looked like you ran the same play twice in a row, the same setup on the false start. Had the penalty, but you said, you know what, this play's going to work.
It's there.
It seemed like the same action. Was it, or was it a little different look?
Was it the same play?
Yeah, it was the same play.
Yeah, Coach Brown, you know, he'll dial him up now, and he obviously saw what he liked, and we did a really good job. Reggie did a really good job of snagging that guy, and so what we talk about is, you know, it was essentially a now and go or bubble and go, and he put his hands on him, shed him, and there we go. And
it was astonishing how open he was.
I know, it was awesome. It was awesome. We should have probably went back to it a couple more times.
Well, I think you tried. I think, and I think I've said it on the air, but I almost felt like Chance had carte blanche to whoever was in single coverage. It just looked like it was. I mean, we'd sit there and we go, okay, there's press coverage here. That's who's, and then sure enough, that's where he went.
Yeah, and then, you know, the other thing, too, I was proud of, you know, they did a pretty good job, especially in the first half of stopping the run. And then as the game went on, we started getting more chunks, and stayed with it, and really wore them down. And it was the same thing on defense. The defense was, you know, they were really getting after the quarterback on Saturday. And it was awesome to see. You know, we talked all week long about the most physical football team is going to win this game. And we had some physical play by some guys on the defensive side. And it was awesome to see. And they were getting after the quarterback and causing turnovers and putting the offense in good positions, and they were capitalizing.
Well, I had to laugh because Mr. Bone was Player of the Week, you know, Defensive Player of the Week. But are you going to send Scipio a fruit basket by sending them your way? I mean, they were running away from him because he was in there, but you were like, I think you kind of sold out for the run pretty much all time, the whole game.
Yeah, I feel like that's just how I play. I just run to the ball, and then if I have any type of chance to get up there, I'll just throw my body out there and try to make it.
Did you just kind of know what you were seeing, though? You guessed right a lot.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, we watch a lot of film throughout the week, so like what I was seeing out there, what we were seeing was pretty much what you saw all week through the scout team. So when we got into the game, it was just repetition. So it's pretty
kind of like a heat-seeking missile out there. You know,
low,
no fear. It looks like.
Oh no, I never have
nice
fear.
way to play, right?
If you have fear, that's how you get hurt. So.
Well, Bone is the first player this year that's had a after the play personal foul that I did not take out of the game.
Yeah,
I don't know if you noticed that or not.
No, I did. I saw you grab me, and then I tried getting away from you.
I tried getting away.
What did you do?
Well, one thing that hit, it didn't establish precedent because they did it a couple times.
100%.
I mean, the touchdown run.
The Keon, is that
Keon? He got lit up after he's across the goal, and then he gets called for saying, "Man, what are you doing?"
Well, and then Andrew Cook as well. You know, on that punt return, you know, he gets tackled
on their sideline.
Yeah. So it is what it is. We don't control
we have that saying. It's know your geography.
Yeah,
you know your geography when you look up. And then of course, I'm on double secret, not so secret probation. I have to be very, very careful, especially on the home games. But
the RMAC loves Jim.
But you know, I see things and I just kind of wonder sometimes. I go, well, what? We have a double standard here, or is it because they're feeling sorry for a team? Do you feel that sometimes when you're up in a game that, you know what, we can't call it everything because they're up 28-0?
No comments.
No comments. I try to set up. He's well schooled.
He's smart.
Well schooled
he's a
in
quarterback.
the art of avoiding it.
You know, former quarterback. Diplomacy reigns. So I like that.
Well, we mentioned being physical. That quarterback of theirs, I mean, you got to give him a gold star for heroism because he kept coming back out there for more. But you guys, the ice bath had to be his friend after that game.
The very first drive, they hit him, I think, twice, and then he started turning the ball over, and they did not stop hitting him.
Well, Jim made the perfect comment. He said he's now uncomfortable.
Oh yeah,
and he played uncomfortable the entire, pretty much from the middle of the first quarter on, and we were surprised he went back.
Yeah, he kept coming back. I'm going back for more. It's like Rocky. Rocky 5, maybe.
And you mentioned it earlier, but Sip was doing a great job coming off the edge. They were really having a hard time blocking him. Noah Purcell had a really good sack against them as well, and then we really challenged our defensive line going into that game, and challenged them to play to their ability, not to anybody else's, and really dominate. And they did a really good job on Saturday of establishing their dominance and getting after the quarterback. So it was awesome to see.
We've seemed to call Noah Purcell's name at least once or twice every game. He seems to make at least one or two plays every game.
Oh, he's a great teammate too. He's a kid that was, really came in as a linebacker. We moved him to the defensive line. He was an All-American at Riverside College. Him and Reggie were both All-Americans at Riverside, and that that can kind of go one or two ways with the guy. You know, you move him to a position that they're not used to playing, and they're used to being a guy at another position, and man, he's just all in and has taken it in stride and is really playing some really good football right now, and is a huge portion of why we're being successful on teams, and he's done a really good job.
Well, definitely defense. You guys substituting waves. It keeps everybody fresh, doesn't it, when you bring in 4 or 5 guys at a time for situations.
Yeah, we personnel about everything, and so
except safety.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Yeah, just put me out there. Leave me alone.
Yeah, Coach Foskey does a really good job of personnel and making sure that we get the right personnel on the field with the right offensive personnel, and so it makes it a lot easier when if they're going to go heavy, that you get what we call plug, which is all of our defensive linemen in there, our big boys, and trying to own our gaps, and it's been really successful for us all year.
Well, you and I talked going into the game. We thought first down, very important, holding them down, getting them behind the sticks, more or less. Mm-hmm. 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9. And your defense did that. It dictated tempo, I think, in the ball game, because they just could never get where they could get a bunch of first downs in a row.
Yeah, and it was good for us, too, because, common theme that you've seen all year long is the offense is really trying to hold on to the football. I don't know if you guys have noticed that or not, but they're even if they're no-huddle teams, they're waiting until the very last second to snap the football, and so really trying to limit how many possessions we get on the offensive side. And so it's been crucial for us. A huge, key to our success this season has been how good our defense is on third downs. We're top probably 10 in the country on third downs and getting them off the field, and that continued on Saturday because we were good on first and second down. And when you're, if you got third and long and you're getting over 35% on third and long, you're elite offensively. Chances just aren't good. And so if you can get to teams third and long, you're going to have a really good chance of getting off the field.
Well, and also the ball club offensively, I just thought just so efficient in the ball game. You didn't, and plus there are some points where Joe and I even talk about, sometimes a punt is not a bad play, and that when you don't force the issue. If it's third and long, you know what, we'll try something here, but let's not do something stupid and turn the ball over. Trust our defense, and a couple times punted them deep.
Yeah, Sully did a great job. We got two punts down on the 1 yard line. Moose, our backup tailback, actually downed both of those, and that was awesome. Then we quick kicked once with Chance, and we got him inside the 10 yard or on the 10 or something around there as well. And so field position obviously helped, and when you're backed up like that, that's tough.
You gotta give the official credit who marked that one ball, because it was just almost touching the goal line. They didn't move it out to the 1, like sometimes they do to set the sticks or whatever. That ball was almost touching the goal line. I like that. I go, you can't get it any closer.
So that leads us to, we always have a question. Our resident referee expert, Ray Eckler, he wasn't listening Saturday. So we had that one play where the guy out of bounds, first one to touch the ball. Now, I always thought that was set in stone. Now, is that something different now? You can get back in and reestablish position and then catch the ball, because he was definitely out of bounds. Both of them had their caps off. They both throw the flag, and then they talk it over, say, we're in front of the Chadron State bench or in front of the Chadron State crowd. He's fine. Let's okay. First down.
Yeah, if you get forced out, right? So if you're pushed out by a defender on the offensive side, you can come back into the field of play, establish yourself, and then be the first to touch the football. And so you can do that. Now, if he would have ran out of bounds by himself, then you couldn't do that. But
which leads me to believe they didn't know for sure whether he was pushed out, because they both threw the caps, didn't they?
No comment.
Even if they throw their caps, that's just signifying
that he was out. So then they determined whether he was forced out after.
That's exactly right.
Because see us thinking, well, I didn't see it that well. I didn't see it well.
Where are we at, Chadron?
Okay,
no, it's good. We're good.
And
we had the other call we wanted to ask you about was the quick kick on Chance. They annihilated him.
Yeah, I asked about that, and if you go back and watch the tape, and they were right, the referees were right.
Wait, what?
The referees were correct.
What?
They were right on that one. They said, that he was blocked into him, and Howard actually, as you look at it, Howard did block the guy into Chance, and so he got it. The rule is, because I asked him, I was like, hey, why are we not protecting? He's a punter. Mm-hmm. He's like, well, he has to be at least 7 yards. I was like, he was 7 yards. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's exactly where we put him. And but he did on tape. You can see he got blocked into him.
Let's see. He's got to be 7 yards. Well, let me see. Oh, wait a minute. He was blocked into? No, it was actually blocked.
He was.
I'm such a cynic.
Well,
I'm a cynic, aren't I? It's terrible, Joe. I need help.
What do you guys think about that? Like when you're down there in the heat of the action, and there's these, and you see officials start talking. Do you just think that's just nothing good's going to come from that?
Honestly, don't even pay attention
No.
to it. No,
You're in your own little world, aren't
Yeah,
you?
just
Pretty
go to
much
the-
always, huh? Bone lives someplace nobody really knows except
Bone?
I
except
go to a
Bone.
dark place.
What the
See?
heck was that?
That's Bones.
I don't know what happened.
That's my frequency.
I don't know what happened.
That was somebody saying,
did
Bone?
something.
You can't
Oh,
talk
well.
about Bones' place.
We got all these wires going around here.
I know.
tonight.
We
It's
lost
time-
the speaker, I think.
I think we
Can't
just
expose
blew
my
that speaker
secrets,
out.
that's why I have
And whoever's over there sitting in the front row probably got blown out.
That's all right.
You know what that means? It's time for a timeout.
All right.
So we're going to take a timeout. It is the Phil Vigil Show. We got all our food. We'll talk about it. Joel introduced the food
Yeah,
to
that's
the
my-
players and everybody
my
else when we
favorite
come
place.
back after this timeout. It is the Phil Vigil Show. We're at ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House on Fox Sports Pueblo. Same family since 1960. They're out on the Mesa, of course, and also another location in Rocky Ford. We're talking about last week's win over Chadron State. And it was, the final score was 28-3. You know, in the postgame show, I kept saying 28-0, Phil, because I didn't recognize that field goal.
That cheap.
I didn't like the fact that they kicked the field goal with 2 minutes to go in the ball game just to avoid a shutout.
Yeah,
I
you
think
sound
that-
like Coach Foskey.
So
he doesn't recognize that either.
Yeah, so but they
That's
did
the
it.
second shutout he's lost, and he lost one because of.
And so
offense.
I kept saying 28-0 in the postgame show. I think I said 28-3 one time, but the rest of the time I said 28-0. We signed off. Joe goes, it was 28-3, and he goes, oh well. I just didn't recognize that darn field goal.
That's almost. I hate to use this word because that a field goal in that situation was pathetic. Don't you just still got to go for it? And, I mean, if you're kicking from there in that situation, you're simply trying to avoid a shutout. That's a save face field goal. Now you guys don't have to comment on that, but that's me commenting.
Yeah, Joe.
because I can.
Joe and I, we'll take the heat,
But-
we just thought that was.
But that was just kind of a
Something
there's
to do
words
with
you can't
poultry.
say on the air kind of field goal.
Yeah, no comment.
Yeah.
Daniel Bone has no comment, which is strange when it comes to that.
Well, let's give him a chance to comment on something. Let's set him up with a great question.
Okay.
Let's talk about the similarities to last season to this season. Do you feel like that as a ball player now going in? Say, man, we're in the same boat as last year, 1-3. Well, you stress to the new players on the team, hey, we're in the same boat. We can still do it. Let's just win out and see what happens. Is that the message, or are you guys just adapting the coach speak? One game at a time. We want to go 1-0.
Just one game at a time.
There you
We
go.
don't-
Good job. See, Phil,
we don't
these
worry
guys,
about it,
you're rubbing off on them, and we're trying our best to get them to look forward.
We just worry about one game at a time. Don't worry about last year. Last year's team's a whole different team. The chemistry that we have this year is one of the best chemistries that I've ever seen or been a part of. So we have a new team. So everything that we're doing right now is just way different than last year. So we don't pay attention to that.
Pine Creek's been a pretty good feeder
Yes.
school for CSU Pueblo. And when you were in high school, did that filter down to you and saying, hey, we've had some guys from Pine Creek have some pretty good success here? Was it ever talked about like that there?
It wasn't really talked about, but I knew some of the people that went through it, Wibbles that
Sure.
came through here. His dad was my DC in high school, so
Okay.
I've always been kind of close with them. So it wasn't really talked about, but I had an idea pretty much.
Nice. And Zach's from Loveland High School, and
Right.
one of our favorite players of all time at CSU Pueblo is from Loveland High School. And Jesse Lewis, he was my guy for a long time. Is that reputation up at Loveland?
Yeah, it is. Even out there, we try to keep it kind of within the team, so we don't talk a lot about next level stuff, because especially at the high school, a lot of guys don't get that opportunity. But with some of the people, it's definitely talked about a lot and stuff. And
Sure.
Well, you probably got to play a little chip on your shoulder, being, a little chip because little guy. But you play big, and I'm sure that's fuel for you, isn't it? When you say, you know what, do you look to certain pros from the past that, the New England effect, guys that are small in the slot, but you know what? There's room for guys that aren't behemoths to play this football game.
Right, yeah. And actually, a big thing for me was in high school, we actually had Jeremy Bloom come and talk to our football team and stuff, and he kind of, you know, went through, you know, his same size, same kind of skill set. And there's a lot of guys that have been like that, but, you know, it's something that I've lived with my whole life, so it's not new to me, that's for sure.
Like you just suddenly didn't wake up small, right? You said,
exactly.
You know, I'm this size, I can handle this size, and you better be able to handle me.
Exactly. That's how it's been the whole way through.
I hear they tease you a little bit about your speed. Are
Yeah.
you the fastest
It's
guy on
just
the team?
mainly me.
Yeah.
No one else really does. It's just me.
Have
So-
we had an official wide
Who's
receiver
the
race where you
fastest
line
guy?
up 8 guys and go for it?
We have not. That would.
Now Nigel Mitchell maybe coming
Yeah.
back this week. I saw his name on the roster. We don't know if he's going to play or not. Now
Yeah,
that's
he's
a
gonna
different
start
level
for
of
us.
speed.
He's going to start for us this weekend, so
All
it'll
right,
be good.
So
Hey, how about Nigel Mitchell getting a scout team player of the week on?
He's been working.
He has.
But I
been.
mean, you guys got to understand, Nigel was the guy. Well, you know.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, did you outlaw the jump up and bump celebration?
That's a fluke thing. Golly.
It happens all the
I
time.
know it, and it's so unfortunate. It really is. But
Every time somebody does that, Jim and I just cringe because we've seen it happen twice. And we're like, you guys,
No,
fist
we don't want
bump,
to do it.
chest bump, just don't leave your feet.
shoot, even when we played Western Colorado, they're one of the D linemen at the end
Yes,
of the game.
yes.
Tore his ACL just like
And,
that.
and a guy at Grand Valley did it too on their team. I'm like, do not leave your feet when you celebrate, okay? I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I don't. I try to stay grounded.
Yeah.
Oh my
That gave me PTSD with Nigel.
He's like a golfer. Let the ground be your friend.
Yes,
and
yes,
just
gravity.
use the ground to annihilate people. So have you guys had a race? Have you, or is there a pecking order? You guys know?
Honestly, we have not. I don't think, to be honest, I don't think anybody wants to find out because we all just want to say that we're the fastest.
Okay, that's a good way to do it. So you never find out, then you just say, you know what, I got you.
Zach, you know, he may not be able to beat Nigel in a race, but I'll put Zach up against anybody side to side. He's the quickest, probably one of the quickest dudes we got on this entire team.
So he's twitchy.
Yeah,
He
he's
is
hard to
very
guard.
twitchy.
He's twitchy. He's got twitchy muscles.
And he has an unbelievable feel for space. Like I don't know how to compare it, to be honest with you, but when Chance is looking his way, if it's any type of choice route, I know it's going to be completed. And,
Well, the touchdown this week was beautiful because he led him across. You know,
That was a great
it's
pass.
hard
That was a great-
to
yeah,
throw
I mean,
a guy
it was a
vertical
thing of
down the
beauty.
field,
It was just
but if you
perfect.
can have a little, you know, you got a little bit more wiggle room, don't you, when you throw a crosser?
Yeah,
That you
absolutely.
can kind of adapt to the pattern. Plus, it was still a perfect pick because you were never left stride. It was perfect.
Oh, it was one of the best balls probably I've ever caught. It was an amazing ball from Chance. I didn't break my stride at all. Just caught it fully in stride and just kept going.
Well, the fans don't know. I mean, Zach leads the team in receptions and yards. Bone leads them in tackles. So we got the team leaders here. So this is the, you know, they can say all they want about you, but just tell them to go look at the stat line.
That's exactly
Right?
Absolutely.
You know, Reggie, he might be the most efficient player in the country. Seems like every time he catches a pass, it's for a touchdown, which is okay. I mean, you take it.
Yeah, I'll take
Right?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it.
But
For the record, we kind of felt bad for Zach. It was a couple weeks ago when you did an interview. It's like, man, maybe you got back to the booth. Well, maybe I should have interviewed Zach.
I
You see
told
the
him.
game he had?
they said he threw for one, he caught one. I'm like, man, he's probably saying, what do I got to do to get talked after the game, man? I was like, yeah, I apologized before we went on the air, so he knows it.
Well, talk about that touchdown pass you do. I'm sure it was in the game plan. You guys have worked on it. Is there, even when it comes up, the moment you got to do it, is there a little hesitation, or you just go, man, don't throw this out of the end zone? Or what was the thought in your head? Or you just do your natural thing, just execute?
Yeah, you know, that was, first off, that was a pretty bad throw.
Okay.
But yeah, it's obvious. I mean, when it's called, it's kind of, you know, the nerves kind of build up.
Have you ever thrown one before? Have you ever run that play? I don't remember ever seeing you run it for the Thunderwolves, but in high school or?
Yeah, so I actually played quarterback in high school as a junior. So I'm familiar with throwing.
Well, all the
football
best
and
athletes are
stuff,
quarterback. You play quarterback?
No.
No, see, I set you up for that.
Yeah, so I mean, I was confident throwing it, but once it left my hand, I was like, oh no, don't go out of the end zone.
How close was it to the out of the end zone? You get a toe in?
Barely.
Yeah.
It had to be. I mean, we thought it was out of bounds.
Now, the reason they couldn't review that, they were out of timeouts, right? For
Yeah.
the half, they couldn't review it.
But even if it was a touchdown. He did a good job.
See, I was confused by the dang, you know, we got all these different soccer lines on the field. I thought for sure he was out, but the yellow line was a yard in front of the white line. So.
Yeah, he was good. It was good. It was a good throw. I almost called timeout on that play.
Would that have been a veto?
Yeah.
Timeout?
Well, no, they're like, what do you think about this play on here? And I was like, all right.
Twist my arm.
And then I'm like, you like the look? You like the look? You like the look? And nobody said a thing. And I was this close to running down there and calling a timeout. And players make plays.
Like no one was vetoing it, but nobody was jumping up and down about it. That's
no one
probably,
was giving an endorsement.
Nobody wanted to take the heat.
Yeah, in case they were endorsing it hard. Oh, well, you told me it was there.
That's when your headset suddenly went out for a second. I didn't hear you. Sorry, Coach.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know how any of the coaches hear him in the second half of any game, because your voice, at what point in the first quarter does it just go?
I honestly think I injured my vocal cords at some point during fall camp. And I can talk fine, but as soon as I start to raise my voice, it's just gone. And even Coach Riston was out of practice today, and he's like, "What's wrong with your voice?" I'm like, "I need some rest. I don't know what to tell you."
He's auditioning for the lead singer AC/DC.
Exactly. A little thunderstruck there. Well, you had a moment in the ball game. I thought you were gonna, maybe bust a blood vessel.
We call it vapor locking.
You were a little irate along the sideline there, and I think it might have been the lack of interference call on Retzlaff, because he was being held. I'm saying, here come the flags, and the flag never came out, and then that was your moment in that game to say, what is going on here? What was the explanation there?
He didn't see it. He didn't see it that way.
Then it's tough to argue when they say that. I didn't see it. Well,
he's like,
you should have saw it. Well, I didn't see it. Well,
I might have been wrong. He said, I might have been wrong.
It kind of diffuses you, doesn't it?
At that point, I don't know if there was much diffusing going on. I was pretty.
And then they called the
Clear
Thunderwolves
from my
for a little
view.
interference a little bit later in the game, and I looked over and I said, "Why you didn't call it down here? No, you called it there."
You control what you can control. We're going to get some calls we shouldn't. We're going to lose some calls we don't. And really, it's about making enough plays during the game that doesn't matter.
Joe and I are like bad attorneys or good attorneys.
You guys are really trying to bring back the referees.
We badger the witness.
You.
Can we treat this as a hostile witness?
Yeah. We're the hostile ones.
We're the hostile.
Exactly.
I'm the hostile prosecutor.
Well, we're going to be friendly when we come back, because we're time for another timeout, because that's what we do. And after we come back, we got question and answer session. I haven't even looked at my phone.
I have a
see
couple.
what's going on. Whoa, look at that. It's all lit up.
Blowing up. We
So
got questions.
719-671-7574. 719-671-7574. Text me your questions, or you can tweet Joe on the old X. Do you still tweet on X?
I tweet.
Or
You know
do
what? I
X
felt bad today.
on
I
the
just had to
former Twitter?
retweet your. I forgot. I was in meetings all day today, and I was driving over here, and I usually send out a really cool tweet and a picture, usually of him, and I point to the coach. This is not TV; it's radio. I point to the coach and set up the show, and I even texted him earlier today to say, "Who's coming on the show?" And when he said, "Callie," I was like, "Yes, we're going to talk to Mike. I can apologize in person."
So we got one from the Ozarks. We got what's his face? Rock's
Uncle Charlie.
Uncle Charlie. What's his face?
That's
called a vapor lock.
I know
right
who
there.
the dog's uncle is. That's what all you need to know.
And they're back from Yellowstone.
Hey, they listened.
Yeah, they were up there with the wolves. And,
Giving us-
they're back, so we'll get
sending
all
us
that.
pictures.
So we'll come back after this timeout. We'll get to those questions. This is the Phil Vigil Show. We are at ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House. It is Pint Night. We'll find out who's sponsoring Pint Night when we come back right after this on Fox Sports Pueblo. Brought to you by Wrestler Implements. They're in Pueblo, as well as Rocky Ford, your local premier, Kubota, Case International Harvester, and New Holland dealer. Please like their Facebook page for a chance to win 2 $100 Visa gift cards and receive updates on all their promotions. Same name, same family since 1960. We got some caps here. That's a good-looking cap. You know, you can't go wrong with red, white, and blue, because that's Thunderwolves color.
Not at all. Absolutely.
It's good stuff.
Good. And the Rustlers knew not to make mine red, white, and blue. They just went blue.
I think it's black.
Is it black? I thought it was blue. There's no red. There's no red.
blue?
Well, because you're a Wildcat.
Exactly. I told him the only fat guy with the white beard that wears red. Santa. So, that's why I don't wear
Have you ever
red.
been asked to be Santa?
Oh, I used to do it all the time.
Natural
man.
candidate, right?
I used to do it all the time at the Y.
Yeah.
And then we start the Y preschool, and then one year, my first daughter was going to go to the Y preschool, and they did their Christmas party, and the teacher was so afraid that my kid would see through it that she found somebody else, and that was my way out of being sent.
Got out.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the Santa story.
Let's get to the questions, Phil.
Sounds good.
You ready?
Yeah.
We talk
All
about
right.
everything here. You
This
know
is
that,
we
right?
Ken down there in the Ozarks, he's already wanting your mid-season evaluation, although it's not mid-season, it's almost three-quarter season. You got 3 games left.
It's
3 chances to be great, and let's give us your evaluation right now of the way the team's gone this year.
Yeah, I think, the thing that I'm most proud of this team about is every single week we've gotten better. And I think, again, it just goes back to their focus and intentionality of being present right now and figuring out how can we be great right now. And I think that as we've gone through this season, that's one thing that I'm extremely proud of these guys. And, you guys asked me at the beginning of the year, how good are you going to be? And I don't know, but I know we love each other a lot. And I think our connectivity, the way that we interact with each other, the bond that we've been able to create, and the fact that we're getting better every single week, I don't know if I could ask for more as a coach, to be honest with you.
And that might have been one of your biggest challenges as the new guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
you just don't know.
Yeah.
You just don't know. You don't know how teams are going to, how players are going to, buy in, if they're going to buy in, and what that's going to look like. And to these guys' credit, they've done nothing but that since we've got here. And again, it takes everybody. It takes our staff emphasizing the same things that I'm emphasizing. And it takes these guys as leaders emphasizing the same things. And when it, player-led teams are the best teams. And we've got some really good leadership on this team that, again, love each other and trust us as coaches. And it's been a lot of fun.
Well, Ken's also asking about the talent level that you – it's almost too easy or too soon to start recruiting or talking recruiting for next season, but let's face it, you're always doing it. You're always highlighting guys. What's your feeling right now with people seeing the way you're performing this year, your ball club? Is there like a little under level of excitement coming your way, saying, you know what, I kind of want to be a Thunderwall. I want to be there where the excitement is.
Well, I think
I don't want to be there where there's only 500 in the stands.
Yeah, I think that a lot of that goes back to what has been built here before. Like the work, the foundation, the tradition. That is so easy to sell to a kid, and I think the thing that has separated us a little bit, our staff a little bit, is all the stuff outside of that, right? Like we're going to be honest with your kids. We're not going to tell you everything you want to hear. We're going to tell you the truth and why we're in this thing, and that we're in this thing to build men through the game of football. And so I think that for us, being real, being genuine, being honest, but I would say that I'd be lying to you if I said there wasn't a level of excitement. I think not only in recruiting, but most importantly within the team that's here right now. Right. And I think everyone sees that this thing is just going to continue to go to the top. And so that part of it has been really exciting. And again, yes, we're always recruiting. We're always looking for the next great Daniel Bone or Zach Rakowski. We're trying to find those guys every single day. But our focus right now mainly is on the guys that we have here and getting after Mesa.
You know what helps that is going on the road to a place like Shattern and beating the home team's ass on recruit weekend. And all those corn-fed kids lining the sideline going, I want to go for those guys, not these guys.
Yeah.
That doesn't hurt, does it?
It doesn't. Again, it's just about taking care of business. It's about doing your job. And again, this place is special, and it's going to continue to be that way. And it's going to take special people. We don't want just great athletes. We want great people. And so we're going to continue to recruit that and keep elevating.
All right, Uncle Charlie checking. Uncle Charlie, he doesn't believe in one sentence, so it's gotta weed through.
It's like an ex-girlfriend text.
Well, exactly. He wants to know everything. How are you doing?
But it's all positive. Uncle Charlie's very positive. He loves what's going on.
Yeah, he's looking forward to the scouting report on Mesa and everything about him. What impressed you most about your victory at Shattern? That's his first question.
I think, I was extremely impressed with how we were able to contain their offense. I thought we did a really good job of getting after the quarterback, like we've talked about already. And then, being able to cause 4 turnovers. We won. We were 4-0 on the turnover battle on Saturday.
And that first one stopped there. They were going down the field. Nucci steps in front of that pass, and that Jim called it. He goes, that might have been their chance.
Yeah,
it was a big play. It was a big play, and then to continue to get after him throughout the game was big. Bone got his first interception of the year.
About time.
Jeez. Finally.
But he got a billion tackles, so.
He did say before the game, we do an accountability circle, and each guy on defense steps in and tells the rest of the defense what they can expect. And he said, something to the effect of, I'm going to do my job, and I'm going to be the most physical football player on the field, and I'm going to get my first pick today.
Nice.
Well,
it was astonishing looking
you don't
at the
say
tackle.
that every game, though, do you?
I had to say it.
Yeah.
I was tired of being pickless.
Oh.
I had to say it.
The tackle total, though, was, we don't often look down at a stat sheet, see
16,
double-figure tackles in the first half.
Yeah, I was like,
usually
that
it's like
surprised
5.
me
It's
when
like,
you told me
this
after the
guy's
game. I was
active.
like, wow.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
Uncle Charlie also wants to know, what do you feel like is the biggest thing this team needs to improve on?
The biggest thing we need to improve on. I would like for us, again, not being results oriented, but being process oriented, focusing on how we can continue to get better. And I don't know if I can pinpoint, hey, we have to be better at this. I think from last week's games, there's some things that we can be critical about, offensively specifically. 3rd and short, 4th and short killed us. That's an area where we've got to be better. If it's 3rd and 1 to 3, we should be 100% on that. And we lost that battle twice, and then lost that battle twice again on 4th down. And we can't continue to do that, especially against really good football teams. And so we've got to be better on situational downs, third and short specifically. At least last week we needed to, and then I harp every single week with our guys that we're committing too many penalties.
Yeah, you're up there in the nation in that.
We've gotta. Now there's certain things that there's going to be pass interference that's going to be called. There's going to be a holding that's going to be called, but procedural penalties, unsportsmanlike after the play, stuff like that, we can't continue to do, and those are the things I think just off the top of my head that we gotta clean up.
All right.
I got a couple of questions. Okay. Well, and you won the coin toss, right? So
3 weeks in a row.
Yes,
3 in a row.
Yeah, so who's calling it this week? Zach.
I mean, we actually make mention of that. So good job.
Yeah.
This is the first question is a 2-parter, but it's a softball question to the players. 1, what are you wearing Saturday? What uniform? And 2, what is your favorite of the combinations each of you likes to wear the best? That's a softball question. Then we'll get to the really good question next.
All right, for this weekend, we'll wear blue on white. We'll wear blue tops and white bottoms, and then we're going to wear a lot of pink this weekend for breast cancer, so you'll see a lot of that this weekend. And my favorite one will probably have to be – that's a tough one. I like the white tops and red bottoms, but I also like all red too.
Yeah. What about you, Zach?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with Bone. I think the all reds.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like the red out game for sure.
All right. That was actually a well thought out question from somebody that listens to the show, so
Nice.
Good for them.
Yeah.
The next question is for Coach Vigil. Okay, Mesa, your alma mater. Have you ever coached against your alma mater in any?
I have.
And then, do you have a little extra something since it's? Now this is radio.
That answered it right there,
This is
Joe.
radio, so you didn't see the smile. But I know that you're not going to go where I want you to go with this, so I'll let you give the political.
Joe and I will
correct-
go there.
Yeah, we'll do that on Saturday when you can't hear us.
I said this earlier in the week. I got to talk to Jim Brooks, who is a guy that does all their radio.
His name's Jim Brooks, too.
I don't know.
Or Jim.
That's nice.
I was like, wait.
Is this Jim? I thought
Flattery.
it was Jim.
Imitation of flattery. No, it's Jim. I know who you're talking about. It's
Gosh dang it, Jim.
It doesn't matter. His name.
Anyways, I hadn't talked to him in Jim Davis, excuse me. Jim Davis, that's what it is. I hadn't talked to him since I played there.
Yeah.
And just talking, reminiscing a little bit about that place. And obviously, I have a lot I'm indebted to that place. Sure. You know, I have a lot of love for a lot of the people that have helped me along my way and developed me into who I am today. You know, I mean, my college roommate Bart is sitting right over there. You know, and there's a reason that they're sponsoring this show. You know, and that stuff doesn't happen. You know, the relationships there, the professors, the coaches, it's a special place to me from that standpoint. This weekend is personal.
Yeah.
You know?
Thank you.
And
it's personal for us every week when it comes to Mesa. So and we still call it Mesa State. Just spite.
I still have a diploma that says Mesa State.
Yeah.
I didn't order the new one. Screw that. I wanted the one the school that I went to. You know. But I mean, I would be lying to you if I told you that this one. I know we talk about faceless opponent, but this one means a little bit more, you know. And we talked about that a little bit this week. But yeah.
Well, this is your first chance. We've already had the two guys in here this year that didn't get the job because you got the job. So you know that they had to have that in their mind. Now, you didn't get that job. That kind of sets it all up, right? So you kind of say, well, you know what? I'm going to show you. Maybe you should have hired me. Well, you're not going to come out and say that. Joe and I will say it for you.
We'll say it.
But that's only the natural tendency.
And we'll say it repeatedly, so just so that you can. But the question basically is, you talk about faceless opponents, and I know you preach that to them, but there has to be an amount of just against your alma mater. I mean, not just looking across but you've already done that, but not as a head guy, right?
Yeah, you know, my first year coaching, I was at Colorado School of Mines.
Okay.
And so we went actually to Mesa and played them there, and that was the first time that Mines had beaten Mesa in like 5 years or something like that. That was weird, you know, because it was all the guys that I played with, you know, and that was different. You know, I everywhere in my career I've ever been, as an assistant or a head coach, I've seen God place us there, and so I know there's a reason that I'm here right now, and I'm telling you right now, there's nowhere else I'd rather be than right here, and so I'm excited to lace it up against these guys this weekend, and I'm excited to watch these guys fly around and make some plays, and again, it's you've got to be able, just like I tell the players, playing with emotion is great, playing emotional is not, and so we've got to be able to. Yes, there's some emotion there, but you got to be able to put that aside and go to work and do the things that have made you successful up until this point. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to, it means a lot, but we're not changing anything. You know, we're still doing what we do.
Sure.
And that's really been the message.
All right, we'll come back after this time. First, we thank everybody for texting your questions into the head coach there and tweeting Joe there as well. Come back, we'll talk a little bit more about this week's matchup against Colorado Mesa. It is the Phil Vigil Show. We're at ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House on Fox Sports Pueblo. Pueblo and Rocky Ford, your local premier Kubota Case International Harvester New Holland dealer. Please like their Facebook page for a chance to win $200 Visa gift cards and receive updates on all their promotions. Same name, same family since 1960. Final segment here of the Phil Vigil Show. We got about 5 minutes. Phil, let's break down this matchup against Mesa. What do they do that worries you?
They're playing some good football right now. Coming in at 4-4, they really easily could have been 5-3. I mean, could have been 6-2. They're playing some really good football, and so defensively, you know, Coach Miles is going to be. Their defense is playing really well. They're tied for first right now with us, actually, for sacks. They've got 25 sacks on the year, and so we've got to make sure we protect the quarterback. They've got some really athletic guys in the back end. When they're playing at a high level and getting turnovers, they're very, very hard to beat. And so you look at their games, their win-losses. When they're winning games, they're plus in the turnover margin. And so they're doing a good job getting after the quarterback and creating turnovers. And so offensively, they've got a really athletic quarterback. They've got some really athletic tailbacks that do some really good things. Number 85, the receiver for them, is an absolute stud. They've got some good players. They've got a really good scheme. And you know, for us, again, I told our guys all week long, it's going to be a 60-minute slugfest. That's what it's going to be. And we've got to make sure that we're coming in ready to rock and roll and doing our job. You know, and that's what we got to do.
Well, and we always like to bring in the players. Kind of a stock question I've asked since we've been having players on is, Zach, I'll ask you first, and Dan, we'll go to you, is how much film do you watch, and like particularly of this Mesa team? How much have you watched, and what do you watch in particular?
Yeah, so obviously it depends week to week, particularities of what you're watching on film, but we definitely watch a lot of film. You know, I'll get in as many hours as I can by myself, but the biggest thing is we'll come together as a group, just players, and watch film. That's a really big thing for us, but specifically, like, from my spot, you know, obviously all the DBs, I got to watch the DBs, but one of the biggest things, especially this week, is focusing on seeing the pressures that they bring and stuff, and just picking up on different things and knowing their alignments, what their alignments mean, seeing coverages, seeing different blitzes and stuff. That's kind of the main things that I'm looking for when I'm watching film.
What about you, Dan?
For me, I feel like I watch a lot of film personally. I make our tendency sheet for our defense. I send it out every week on Tuesdays. So I like go through all their formations and all their plays that they could do out of it. Their top 5 run plays from each personnel. So I say like I watch a lot of film just so I could get the feel of what they do when they're out there. I like to try to, it's like a little game for me. I like to try to like call out their plays while they're out there. So sometimes I get it right, sometimes I don't, but it's a little game for me out there to make it fun for me, like more fun. But yeah, I say I watch a lot of film, but our DB room, we watch a lot of film. We watch their wide receiver releases. We watch how the quarterback releases the ball, how he's if he stares down the receivers, if he looks them off, everything like that. So.
You got a little familiarity with this guy, don't you?
Yeah, he was my quarterback in high school, so.
Oh, nice. Okay, so there you go.
So you're in his head.
No, I wouldn't say I'm in his head.
Have you, Phil, have you ever had a player do the tendency sheets for the team?
They actually, on defense, they do some really cool things. They have what's called signal callers every week. And so they'll have a D lineman, a linebacker, and a defensive back all get up in front of the team, and they'll present the upcoming opponent. And so it gives them an opportunity to obviously do some research, study, and then also inform their teammates on things that they've seen and some tendencies that they've caught. And so, you know, again, Saturdays are like tests, they're exams, and you don't want to cram for an exam. You want to study all week long. And so these guys do a really good job of making sure that they're prepared mentally so that we can go out on Saturdays and just play. We don't want to have to think. We don't have to worry about all this. We want to be able to just play. And that comes through your preparation throughout the week, mental, physical, how much film you watch, all those things.
Well, that's not how I studied in college, but I have a degree, so I guess there's different ways to earn that degree.
Yeah, I always told myself I was good under pressure, so that's why I procrastinated.
Yeah, that's right.
13 chapters of Colorado history in one night. Yes,
get it done overnight. Just overnight, just get it all done. Well, I want to thank our guests, Zach, Daniel. Good luck this weekend. Hope you have a great ball game. We'll be there to call it.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having us.
And you know, if you see me after the game, that's a good thing,
It's a good thing.
Yes,
right? Zach, man, he's like,
All right, I'll volunteer. I'll be right there. All right, we want to thank everybody here at coming out to watch us here tonight. Russell Implement are our sponsor as well. A little swagger tonight. We thank them. They're out there on the Mesa as well as Rocky Ford bringing you the Phil Vigil Show. Everybody here at ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House. Ryan Howard's back. He's back. He's been on a couple of little excursions. But
he goes on jaunts.
Yeah, he does. He goes on a fall jaunt.
Jaunts.
A couple different football stadiums, but he's back and good for us. So we look forward to it. We'll have the ball game for you on Saturday. Now remember, we're back to 1 o'clock this weekend. 1 o'clock kickoff, 12:30 with the pregame show. Joe and I will have it there for you. Aaron will be our producer and engineer as well. We thank him for all of his hard work here tonight. Ben Greenberg, he's down in Albuquerque tonight. The Thunderbolts men's basketball team, a little exhibition game down there in the pit, taking on the University of New Mexico. We'll have Ben back on Saturday, and we thank him for all his hard work as well. Paul Plinsky was here as well, the athletic director. For everybody involved, for my partner, Joe Cervi, for my producer, Aaron Kinnischtzke, for the head coach, Phil Veal, our guests. Good night, everybody.